Dore Gold, thank you very much for joining me. I wonder how surprised you are at the level of support that was garnered in the UN. Something like 138 votes to 9.
Well, I'm a former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, and frankly, pro-Palestinian resolutions automatically received the support of the Arab bloc, the Islamic Conference, and indeed the non-aligned movement of third world countries. So to get 130, 140 votes in the General Assembly is not a great challenge, and previous Palestinian representatives have done the same thing.
So how does Israel now view its power or influence in the UN?
Well, I think the issue is not the UN, but I think the main issue is what does this do to the peace process? And unfortunately, Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas, who has faced a more isolated position in the Middle East with the rise of Muslim Brotherhood regimes and the demise of President Mubarak, his key ally, he's chosen to go to the UN, and what he has done by initiating a resolution which prejudges the outcome of what are supposed to be issues for negotiation, he's basically engaged in a material breach, a massive violation of the Oslo agreements. So if he needs Israel to really change the situation on the ground, Israelis trust the Palestinian leadership far less this morning than they did 24 hours ago.
I wonder if, since Benjamin Netanyahu said that this will change nothing on the ground, why there has been so much objection to the Palestinian observer status?
Well, because if you, for example, are supposed to negotiate according to the Oslo agreements where the borders are supposed to be between Israel and the Palestinians, and then you push a resolution through the General Assembly that says the 1967 lines, which a British drafted resolution in the Security Council in 1967 called Resolution 242 did not require Israel to adopt, well, you know, people are going to be angry. And that's only a small part of it. There are many things in that resolution that are unacceptable. Unfortunately, Europe went along with this with the exception of a few countries.
Well, the world is watching, and there was much talk before this resolution was passed, and I'm thinking particularly of Avigdor Lieberman, the foreign minister, who promised an extreme response to a UN vote. Can the international community be assured that this is not going to be the case?
Well, I think Israel will act in a proportionate way. I mean, let's say Mahmoud Abbas did what most leaders of new countries do, and that is go out on his veranda or to his parliament and declare the independence of a Palestinian state and asserted Palestinian sovereignty right up to the 67 line. Israel would have to respond to protect its security interests in the West Bank, its right to defensible borders, and might even annex territories that were important for its defense, as well as its settlement blocks. But we're not there yet. What we have is the upgrade of a Palestinian observer mission at the UN. And as much as it contains elements that prejudge future negotiations, it doesn't change the legal status of the territory on the ground.
Okay, then as the international community watches, can it be reassured that there will be a concerted effort for more talks between the Palestinian authorities and the Israelis?
Well, here's the thing, and this is particularly irksome. You know, Mahmoud Abbas negotiated with the Israeli governments in the past, and all of a sudden in 2009, he puts preconditions on negotiations, settlement freeze, agreeing to the 67 lines, which you're supposed to negotiate over. And then when negotiations fail because of his preconditions, he runs to the United Nations and says, well, the Israelis won't negotiate with me. Well, he's the one who killed the negotiations with preconditions. If he just drops the preconditions, comes to the negotiating table, I am sure Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is determined to reach an agreement. But, you know, come to the table. He did it before. He should come again.